This is Isaiah 14:4. That thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon, and say, How hath the oppressor seized, the golden seat seized? The Lord has broken the staff of the wicked, and the scepter of the rulers. Praise be to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahashai, Bahashem Rakakutash, the Muhana to the Elden, the Apostle of Great Mission. Peace, blessing, and salvation to the Akamo, pushing this truth to the four winds of the heaven, without forgetting the confusion of faith who are joined to our rank. This is Brother Yosiao coming to you with this precept from Central Africa. So this is a report. Russian bombers fly by US sky twice in 2 days. US may send. I am not saying that they have sent. May send up to 10,000 troops to the Middle East. So let's go in this to see this news, what it have to say, man. So right now we are taking a proverb against the king of Babylon, man. First and foremost, before going to that, let me go really quick and grab one scripture here. This is Jeremiah 50:43. The king of Babylon has heard the report of them, and his hand waxes feeble. Anguish took hold of him, and a pang as a woman in travail. So the report in which the king of Babylon will be hearing day to day, is like this eastern country sending their flying bomber in the US sky, which it have never happened before. This country are getting more bold and bold, man. So the king of Babylon, the nobleman of Esau, man, their hand are waxing feeble, man, because Russia is coming for them, man. Russia is not coming for peace. Russia is coming for fire, man. So that's what Russia is coming. Russia is coming for fire, man. Let's go to Jeremiah 15:1, man. I am going back and forth. The word that the Lord spake against Babylon, against the land of the Chaldean, by Jeremiah the prophet. Declare ye among the nation, and publish, and set up a standard, man. So we are setting up a standard against Esau, even though we are not that famous, man. We get 2 to 5 views, man. But we are setting up the standard against Babylon, against these nations through the spirit of Yahweh, Hashem Yahushai. You gotta believe that the spirit of Yahweh, Hashem Yahushai, is more powerful, man. It says that two to three people in the Lord is among you, man. Don't faint in the heart, man. For you brothers who do video and get 5 to 20 views, man. The Lord is among us, man. We continue to set the standard against Babylon, man, until Babylon get consumed with fire, man. Declare ye among the nation, and publish, and set up a standard, publish, and conceal not, say Babylon is taken, man, through the spirit of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Babylon is conquered spiritually, man. The men of the Lord have been in Babylon since 1960, man. So Babylon is taken spiritually. That's why you see more declaration. Babylon is going down economically, but the Russian flying bomber, Chinese flying bombers, their technology being taken in Russia. Esau is getting separate, man. Esau is about to unleash hell, man, because that's what have remained, man. That's his blessing, man. And yes, Jacob trouble will be way more worse than slavery and the trial of tears, man. I will do a video about that, man. Conceal not, say Babylon is taken, Baal is confounded, Merodaka is broken in pieces. Her idol are confounded, man. Them secret society, them skull and bone, them Freemasons, man, are confounded by this word, man. When I saw this one blazer was preaching, I don't know which camp, and Esau was there, man, doing his witchcraft, man. And those brothers just cast the hell out of Esau, man. He was having a Horus eye in his hands, man. He was just trying to summon demons, man. And those brothers cut Esau through the spirit of Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushua. You gotta breathe in this name, man. This name is not for praying, man. Her image are broken to pieces. Man. So those monuments in Washington, they will be burned to fire. Man. For out of the north there comes up a nation. This is Russia out of the north, man. These are called what we call slangs. When you are in the army, you send the frontier to spy on your enemy. So Russia is sending the frontier to spy on Babylon, man. And when they come, man, they will come like a whirlwind, man. America will be destroyed. You Negro, you won't believe your eyes. When America will be taken in 1 hour, you Negro won't believe your eyes, man. That time is coming, man. For out of the north there come up a nation against her, which shall make her land desolate, and none shall dwell thereof. They shall remove, they shall depart, both men and beasts. In those days, in that time, says the Lord, the children of Israel shall come, then the children of Judah together going and weeping, they shall go and seek the Lord their God, man. They shall ask the way to Zion, which is Zion. Zion means monument or protection, man, which their faces. He's our word saying, come and let us join ourselves to the Lord in the perpetual covenant that shall be not be forgotten. So that's it, man. Let's go to Jeremiah 21, and then I will let you listen to this woman, this Shidomite, led Hebrew. Let you listen to this woman, this bitch, this Edomite bitch, man. For I have set my face, this is Jeremiah 21:10. For I have set my face against the city for evil and not for good, says the Lord. He shall be given to the hand of the king of Babylon, and he shall burn to his fire, man. So that's it, man. So this was talking about Jerusalem, man. So this is will apply to Esau, man. So our curse will go to Esau, man. Esau is evil, and as the face of the Lord is against Esau, Esau will be taken by this other nation, man. So let's go direct to this video.
Again, everyone. It's Dina Calmette here with CWW7 News. And for today's broadcast, I do have some updates I'd like to bring to you. And I'd like to start with this first report from Reuters. Apparently, a senior UN security expert stated on Tuesday that the risk of nuclear weapons being used is at its highest since World War II, calling it an urgent issue that the world should take more seriously. Renata Dwan, director of the UN Institute for Disarmament Research, said that all states with nuclear weapons have nuclear modernization programs underway, and the arms control landscape is changing, partly due to strategic competition between China and the United States. Traditional arms control arrangements are also being eroded by the emergence of new types of weapons. With the increasing prevalence of armed groups and private sector forces, and new technologies that blurred the line between offense and defense. With disarmament talks stalemated for the past 2 decades, 122 countries have signed a treaty to ban nuclear weapons, partly out of frustration and partly out of recognition of the risks. She said, I think that it's genuinely a call to recognize, and this has been somewhat missing in the media coverage of the issues, that the risks of nuclear war are particularly high now, and the risk of use of nuclear weapons for some of the factors, are higher now than any time since World War II. The Nuclear Ban Treaty, officially called the Treaty for the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons, was backed by the International Campaign to Abolish Nuclear Weapons, which won the Nobel Peace Prize in 2017. The treaty has so far gathered 23 of the 50 ratifications that it needs to come into force, including South Africa, Austria, Thailand, Vietnam, and Mexico. It is strongly opposed by the United States, Russia, and other states with nuclear arms. Cuba has ratified the treaty in 2018, 56 years after the Cuban Missile Crisis, a 13-day Cold War face-off between Moscow and Washington that marked the closest the world had ever come to nuclear war. The experts stated that the world should not ignore the danger of nuclear weapons. How we think about that, how we act on the risk, and the management of the risk seems to me a pretty significant and urgent question. She added that it was not being adequately addressed in arms control talks or multilateral bodies, such as the UN Security Council, nor by bilateral arrangements between states. Finally, it reports that on Wednesday, China's disarmament ambassador in Geneva accused Washington of sabotaging and tearing up deals and having a Cold War mentality, and said Washington displayed bullying behavior. And speaking of China, RT News is reporting on Sunday, the USS Preble, armed with Tomahawk missiles, sailed through the South China Sea in order to challenge the Asian giant's claim to the area. Washington has repeatedly cited that the excursions into the sea were a principle of freedom of navigation. The navigation of the destroyer so close to the Scarborough Reef was later condemned by Beijing. Commenting on the matter during a news briefing, the foreign minister said, "The ministry strongly urges the United States to stop sending its warships to the region, calling them provocative actions." Sunday's incident marks the second time U.S. intrusion into the South China Sea this month. The Chinese Foreign Ministry stated that the relevant actions of the U.S. warships violated China's sovereignty and undermined peace, security, and good order in the relevant sea areas. So it doesn't seem right now that the United States is going to stop their freedom of navigation drills, which could very well increase tensions with China. But I will definitely continue to keep you updated. However, I would like to move on and talk about Iran just briefly. Just on Tuesday, we were told by the acting U.S. Defense Secretary that while threats from Iran in the Middle East remained high, deterrence measures taken by the Pentagon had put on hold the potential for attacks on Americans. In fact, he stated there haven't been any attacks on Americans. I would consider that a hold. That doesn't mean threats we've previously identified have gone away. Our prudent response, I think, has given the Iranians time to recalculate. U.S. government sources said Washington strongly suspected Shiite militias with ties to Iran were behind a rocket attack in Baghdad's Green Zone. But the defense secretary also stated that he hoped Iran was listening. We're in the region to address many things, but it is not to go to war with Iran. He added that it was a period where the threat remained high and the focus was on making sure there was no miscalculations by the Iranians. Meanwhile, today, Fox News is reporting, as well as other sources, that U.S. officials have stated that the Pentagon will present plans to the White House to send up to 10,000 more American troops to the Middle East to beef up defenses against potential Iranian threats. The officials did say that no decision has been made, and it's not clear if the White House will approve sending all or just some of the requested forces. Officials say the troops will be defensive forces, and the discussions include additional Patriot missile batteries and more ships. So definitely some very interesting developments, and I will definitely keep you updated if they do plan to send those troops to the Middle East. However, I would like to move on and talk about Russia next. It is being reported that Russia has sent nuclear bombers off the coast of the U.S. twice in 2 days. The Russian Defense Ministry stated on Wednesday that two Tu-95MS strategic missile carriers of the Russian Aerospace Forces carried out those planned flights in the airspace over neutral waters, as well as along the western coast of Alaska and northern coast of Aleutian Islands. The statement was nearly identical to that of the previous day, when four Tu-95MS took a similar route and were also escorted by F-22 fighter jets of the United States Air Force. And the North American Aerospace Defense Command also put out a statement that noted the presence of the Russian Su-35 fighter jets. NORAD, which is the joint U.S.-Canadian organization that guards the skies over the northern stretch of North America that comprises the territory of the two allies, dispatched 4 F-22 fighter jets accompanied by KC-135 refueling aircraft and an E-3 airborne early warning and control aircraft. The entire incident took place in international airspace over Alaska's Air Defense Identification Zone. However, these types of occurrences were not uncommon, as the U.S. and Russian mainlands were within 55 miles of one another, and two countries actually shared a chain of Bering Sea islands known as the Aleutian Islands. In a tweet, NORAD noted that it intercepted an average of approximately 6 to 7 Russian sorties entering into the zone since Russia resumed long-range aviation patrols in 2007. So definitely some very interesting news in regards to Russia. Hopefully they will not make it a day 3 flying near our skies, but I will definitely continue to keep you updated. And with that said, I do have one last report I'd like to bring to you, and this comes from Sputnik News. Earlier, the U.S. State Department claimed that it had seen indications that the Syrian army may be using chemical weapons in the country. Both the U.S. and the U.K. vowed to respond quickly and appropriately if it turns out to be accurate. The United States Special Envoy for Syria, James Jeffrey, stated in a speech in the House of Representatives of Foreign Relations Committee that Washington can so far not confirm the alleged use of chemical weapons in Syria's Idlib province, stating that we are watching very closely the reports of chemical weapons use. So far, we cannot confirm it, but we are watching it. At the same time, Jeffrey claimed that the Syrian government is still willing to consider the possibility of using chemical weapons, allegedly in a bid to aid ground infantry attacks. The U.S. State Department previously stated that it had seen signs that the Syrian army may be using chemical weapons in the country and had reiterated Washington's past threats that it would respond quickly and appropriately if allegations turn out to be correct, with the UK echoing this sentiment. Head of the Russian Center for Syrian Reconciliation stated on May 21st that terrorists operating in the Idlib de-escalation zone possess significant amounts of poisonous substances and are planning to use them in staged provocations, according to the Major General, would be aimed at accusing the Syrian army of chemical attacks against civilians. The Russian Defense Ministry warned on May 17th that the Nusra Front terror group was preparing to stage a false flag attack in Idlib, Syria, in a bid to frame the Russian aerospace forces for attacking civilians using chemical weapons. The group was planning to film the alleged poisoning of civilians beside fragments of Russian munitions to achieve the desired effect, stated the Russian Defense Ministry. So this is potentially a very serious situation, and I will continue to keep an eye on these headlines and bring you updates. But please do leave me your comments. I'd love to hear from all of you. Also, if you have a free moment, come and visit us on Facebook, where we...
So let me finish. This is the last scripture here. This is Habakkuk 2. Your brothers know where I'm going, because this scripture is common. Habakkuk 23. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. So another scripture through the Spirit. This is Revelation 14:8. And there followed another angel saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because he made all nations drink of the wine of the lust of her fornication. And the said angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, If any man worships the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink in the wine of the lust, which is poured out without mixing in the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of holy angel and in the presence of the Lamb. I have talked about the RFID. I posted a video about the RFID chip. If you haven't watched it, go and watch. That's an update on the RFID chip. And I have posted what does it mean to be tormented day and night. That's eternal fire, man. It is not what you think, like the Christian think, that you burn in a place where you say man, red suit and a pitchfork. That's not talking about that. So verse 12, here is the patient of the saint, here are they that keep the commandment of God and the face of Yahweh Shai. So what is the commandment? Don't take the RFID chip. So that's it. I hope the lesson was fine. Until next time, shalom.